What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Football Talk with Xavier. My name's Xavier, and today we're going to be breaking in an NFL football, and I'm going to be showing you guys how. You see, I just bought this ball, really red coming out of the box. Doesn't look anything like a football you'd see on an NFL Sunday. Here's what it's supposed to look like. And now what we're going to do is we're going to transform it into one. So now you're going to put your gloves on. Hopefully you have gloves for this process. You don't need them, but it just makes life a little bit easier, I will say. So if you buy this kit, obviously, this is from a certain football company. I believe it's Gio's football company. Shout out to him, especially if this works really, really well. We'll see by the end of the video. Saw a lot of his videos on TikTok, and he honestly had the best budget and price for his products to get the job done. So I was like, why not support a smaller company? Really cool guy, it seems like. Been working in football for quite some time, and this is his business. So figured why not show him some support instead of a company like Wilson, you know? Spend twice the money on a company like Wilson, or help a smaller YouTuber out, right? TikToker, whatever you'd like to call them. Hey, I'm gonna help hold these napkins down a little bit. And now, like I mentioned, we're gonna take our shaving cream. We're gonna put a little bit on the football on each part. And then we're about to just rub it in, okay? So probably should have did one side at a time, but honestly, just trying to get this done. Oh, I definitely put too much right there. It's okay. But yep, now we're just gonna rub this shaving cream on the football, let it rest for about 3 to 5 minutes. And then after those minutes are up, we will brush it off with that same brush that we used earlier. And definitely think I put too much shaving cream on here. Didn't expect it to come out that fast. Never used Gillette's before. Honestly, this is a very scary process to do, I will say. It's like you spend so much on a football, and it's like it feels like you're destroying it, but it's really what you have to do to improve it and make it a better product. And everyone would obviously want the best product possible. Let me know down below, do you think that like companies like Wilson should have this kind of pre-done for you in the package, or do you think it's something where you should have to do on your own, right? Let me know down below what you think. I personally would love if companies like Wilson had like 2 separate price points, right? Like add $30 more. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who'd love to just pay 30 extra bucks to have the game ball exactly like it is on NFL Sundays. Yeah. Man, this is messy. I definitely used too much shaving cream on this ball, but it will be all right. Like I mentioned, we're gonna brush it off in a few minutes. You really just wanna make sure you get the whole thing done, because this is how we're going to pull all of that red dye out of the football. Okay, now we're gonna leave it to set for a few minutes here. Try to get some of this stuff cleaned up a little bit, obviously. Be right back. Okay, now it's time to brush all of the shaving cream off. Like I said, we've let this sit for about 5 minutes or so. I'm sure this process isn't about to be very fun, but this is going to pull a lot of that red dye out, hopefully, and help make the ball just a little bit softer, right? I think that's the goal of this process, make the ball softer, pull some of that dye out. Everything we couldn't just brush out initially should come out once we use this on it. Make sure if you put tape on it, you're getting all around that tape the best you possibly can, because ultimately, you don't want the shaving cream just staying in there. Obviously, it won't matter too much, but you want to do your best to make sure everything you put on this football, you get out of this football, because you don't want to ruin the leather to the best of your ability. Shaving cream really won't if it sits on there for a little bit longer, but you know, you obviously just want to return your football to the best state possible. Almost looks like it turns it more red because it gets some of that light color out initially. Really turns it less orange, I would say, it seems like. It's really the leather honey that we're going to put on next in the mud that's going to give that really brown color, obviously. And if you see anything fly away, trust me, I'm going to go pick it up. Not going to litter. Littering's bad, right? So, going to brush all the shaving cream out. So it's so incredible to me how there's none on the brush, none on the table, none on the ball. It kind of just does a really great job of coming out. And then, you know, some of it does go into the pores of the ball, which is kind of what you want to add that softness to it. Make sure you do a really good job when you do this of getting in between these sewing spots, right? It's really easy for stuff to get stuck in there, and we want to do our best not to have that happen. You see here with my ball, there's kind of some shaving cream that got inside of this laces area here. Not the biggest problem in the world, but definitely something that's not preferred. So, gonna have to take them off to try to get this out. It also doesn't hurt to get the softer brush, that way you know you're not really ruining the laces, and see if it can just get in there and get some of that shaving cream out, like it's doing here. But yeah, I can already feel how much softer this ball feels, how much better the ball feels overall, and we haven't even really started doing much yet, right? So, looks better, feels better. Now we're about to put the leather honey on. Okay, for the leather honey, it's in this little jar right here, and what we're going to ultimately do is take it off, put it all over the ball, and then we're going to wipe it all over the ball, and we're going to actually let this sit for quite a while. I believe it's 4 to 5 hours that we want to let this sit. Like I mentioned, this is your leather honey. We're going to squirt some of this on all the parts of the ball, and then we're going to wipe it in. Like I mentioned, one of the most important parts, without a doubt. This leather honey is really, really great for conditioning the ball. So you just put a little bit on there, and then we're going to wipe. For this, I don't mind it getting on the laces, so I'm going to take them up after this process. I know it kind of seems pointless just for that shaving cream part, and it might be to have taped them up, but that's because I didn't do as good of a job taping as probably I should have. So either tape after this process or do a better job than me, right? That's the hope here. Just make sure you get a good amount of this on the ball everywhere. Put this other glove back on. Just leave them hanging on. Keep 2 gloves on for this process. I don't know why I took mine off. Definitely doesn't feel great on my hands right now, but it'll be all right. And you really want to make sure you coat the entire ball with all this stuff, so even if you have to take it off and put more into it, it's perfectly fine. I don't think you can really have too much leather honey. It's really good at making that mud stick a little better too, which is the important part, right? We know mudding's kind of the main reason we do all of this. Some people don't like the feeling of the mud, but I think it just makes the ball a lot better. Okay, and like I mentioned, after you think your ball is all good, and I don't want to say lotioned up because that's not the case, but once you think it's all oiled up, we'll take a Diddy reference there. Once you think your ball is all oiled up, you're going to leave it and let it sit for about 5 hours. Make sure the ball's not nasty, right? This leather honey can sometimes, like if you have dust and dirt in the area, it can let things get in, and we don't want that to be the case, obviously. This is meant to soften the ball up, help the mud stick slightly better. So yeah, so you get it all set up, you're good to go. Find a nice place in the sun if you want to let this kind of bake into the ball a little bit better. Just in a dry spot is all you really care about. And if you can do that, you're going to be really good off, okay?
Here you see we've got our environment changed up. We got to mud the football now. The reason I changed my environment is it's going to take 24 hours to let sit on the ball before we brush it off, and all you're going to do is put some on your finger and wipe it all over the ball. I'll see you after it's done. Okay, here you see we got the ball mudded up. It's going to give it that really nice dark brown color you see on NFL Sundays, and I'll be back tomorrow.
Okay, we're back. It's the next day. Sorry I didn't get too many clips last night of me actually applying the mud on the ball or anything like that. That's just a process that you kind of have to do in a place where you're not going to move the ball. I honestly don't know if I put enough mud on it. Try to coat it a little bit heavier than I did if you do the same thing. But to get this mud off, we're going to take our hard bristle brush right here, and we're going to just brush the mud off. You don't want to wipe it off because if you wipe it off, you waste your time doing this, right? So we're going to brush this ball. We're going to do it gently for a little while. Don't rush the process, and we're going to make sure that this ball comes out looking pretty much as good as possible for us. It's going to be a dusty process, obviously. But it's going to make the ball darker, as we mentioned. That was favorable. Or after we're done doing that, I should say, you're going to take your leather honey that you used on the ball the day before, you're going to put it in your rag, be a little bit generous with it, and we're going to take this rag, and we're going to wipe the ball down, do our best to get the rest of this off. We're using the leather honey instead of water because we don't want to just wipe all this off. We want to kind of do our best to try to get it soaked into the ball, right? So, okay, now we have the ball fully brushed. We've got it all leather honeyed up, and now I'm going to let it sit for about another hour. And then after we let it sit for that hour, we're going to apply wax. We're going to brush the wax again after we reapply it, and then we'll put leather balm on, and then we'll be done. Okay, so now that we have our football mudded, we put the leather honey back on. Football's looking a lot darker. It's still not perfect by any means. I think I could have did a much better job. If you're doing this, I would highly, highly recommend you do it by hand. Hand's gonna get dirty, hand's gonna get nasty. But my biggest regret is using those gloves. I think it stopped everything from, leveling out and looking perfect. Definitely that much darker color. Definitely feels better though. But now what we're going to do is we're gonna take our wax right here, and we're gonna rub our wax all over the football. And this is to ultimately help with that grip, obviously. And we're gonna brush it in using this horsehair brush we have, okay? So, got it rubbed on that corner of the ball, and then we're just gonna brush. Want to make sure you're using a horsehair brush if you can, because the horsehair brush is going to ensure that it's not being brushed off of the ball, but instead it's being brushed into the ball, which is what you want. We do this first coat right here, and then we're going to go back through with another one. Let me know down below if you're trying this along with me. Part of me wishes I could go back in time and restart it, which is why it's good to watch someone else, right? Because you'll learn. I noticed that the guy I learned from did a little differently, but everything he said he did differently, he said because it didn't really matter, and I regret not just doing exactly what he did. But, you live and you learn. I don't want y'all to mess up, though, obviously. Like I mentioned, this is going to be 2 layers on every panel of the football. Just want to make sure we don't miss any spots. But you can see the primary problem I have with my ball right now is that we have it really multiple colors all throughout. The mud, definitely. I don't know if I didn't apply enough or if it was just because I was using gloves that didn't spread evenly. But what we're going to do next is we're going to take this leather balm, and we're going to ultimately dip our brush in it, and then we're going to rub it all over the ball. This is just to make sure that the ball is not super affected by water. If it rains a lot where you are, if you sweat a lot when you play, you're going to want to make sure this leather balm is on here. Doing your best to protect your really expensive football that you bought, obviously. Like I mentioned, you just put a little on the end of the brush, and you just brush it in the football. This is going to be our final product. See, it has that shine to it a little bit. Thanks for watching. Hope your ball turned out a little bit better than mine. I made a few mistakes. Remember, learn from those mistakes. Don't make them yourself.